Hello, this is Daniel Prey, recording for Module 15, the case study for Class AP 858. We're going to take a look at summarizing the case and establishing what the facts are. First off, we're going to talk about Golden Oak High School, where I am the new principal at. Just under 1,000 students. Superintendent of the district wants us to focus on our attendance rate. Golden Oak used to be a much higher attendance rate, and they have been falling. And of course, with that, we have also seen that scores have been falling also. So after the first semester, I take a look at all the data and I find these 5 student issues. One thing to note is that there were 659 out of 1,000 students that also missed 10 days or more during the semester. So this is definitely warranted, and definitely the superintendent has a good stake to claim here. My job is to come up with a plan that is fair, follows procedures, and is best for all students when coming up and looking at these 5 students. And then the staff in this case also has a unique role, and we'll talk about that in a few. Report any legal or ethical issues. This action that I'm going to take, or that we're looking forward to go with, who's it going to hurt? Is it going to hurt the students, the staff, the stakeholders? I think it's going to hurt all 3. The students as we look at reprimanding, the staff as we look at reprimanding, and based off of those 2, what other stakeholders will have to endure because of that. What does our law look like? Well, we have our school board policy, and we have specific school board policies that follow state law policy. And I started to look in the Kansas High School Athletics Association for their policy. I could not find it though, but our school board policy is aligned with the state. You are an excused absence only occurs if you are ill, a death of immediate family, inclement weather, or a valid reason that is excused by the principal, which is a big deal in this case study, as we'll find out. After 5 unexcused absences, your grade should drop 10 points a quarter. Those are all things to kind of be thinking about as we're talking about the specific school law. And then our last one down here is the breach of contract. We're going to be looking at the athletic director and kind of overlooking some things for him. The homeroom teachers letting some things slide, and maybe the counselor not doing as much as he or she should have been doing. Synthesize exactly what has happened. So after coming up with a specific thought, I went with the student attendance rate at Oak Grove High School has seen a significant decrease over the past few years due to negligence, favoritism, and preferred treatment. And we'll see where that all plays in here, but I felt like that captured all of our 5 student policies, and not only the students, but it also covered the staff. That statement covered the staff and what they're not doing. So here we go, synthesizing the facts. We have our 5 student files that have popped up, and I'm going to briefly talk about each one. We have Karen here. She is a junior. She has good grades as a freshman and a sophomore. She was on the National Honor Society, got inducted. This year as a junior, her grades and her quality of work has gone down. Just before this semester, she has gotten married. Her parents have requested a meeting, which, as far as I know, still has not been filled. So interesting what we have going on with Karen. Tyrone is a sophomore. He has missed 14 days. He is an average student. His mother took him out for 5 days of travel to D.C. and had specific reasons for why she wanted to take him out. Going to the Smithsonian made it very educational. His dad wants him to travel to Canada for 5 days also, and again had made educational reasons and sent that in. Then we have Christina, who is a freshman, has missed 4 days in a row during 3 different weeks throughout the first semester. She has a minister that's asking her to attend out-of-town church or out-of-town church meetings. Her grades have been slipping into C's and D's, and the teachers have requested a meeting with parents. Then we have Carl, who's a 10th grade student, who does something we do at USD 23 that has regular class in the morning and then vocational classes in the afternoon, so they get that ability to work also. He will randomly miss days throughout the semester. The truant officer has been contacted and made a home visit. It seems like the father does not mind him missing school and in fact does not share the same thoughts of education as most parents would. His dad was also a dropout and thinks that that would be a good role for Carl. And then John is our last one. He's the quarterback of the football team. He got hurt in a scrimmage prior to the season. He is missing quite a bit of school on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. Tuesdays and Thursdays for physical therapy, and Fridays because the AD just sent him home. Said he needs to rest up for the big game. No teachers have turned in excessive absence reports, and according to this, his grades are fine. Reviewing and prioritizing the information. The decisions that come down, who will they affect? Obviously, they're going to affect the students. They're going to affect the students' parents, and they're also going to affect the teachers and the athletic directors, as we've been talking about this. Our school board policy that we looked at aligns with the state law, and that talked specifically about when students can miss. And the other big note is that prior approval for trips or anything needs to go through the principal. And as we looked at, that really wasn't happening on our cases. The teachers were kind of writing that off. Decision. Well, what else do we need to be thinking about before we make a decision? In the text, it talks about contacting the social services and juvenile courts and trying to get on the same page with them so they can help input. And also the truant officer would be a good one. There's lots of other factors that we need to be thinking about and specific to the kids that we'll talk about in a second. Identify my options and possible consequences. So a couple things we could do here. Number one, we could take no action. We could let it just slide by and go right along. We could have a strict by the board policy for all 5 of these students with no wiggle room whatsoever. We could ask the superintendent what his thoughts are and go with whatever he says, pass down. We could poll the staff and see what we should do with these 5 students. Thought outside the box, maybe we could rank the cases and pass out punishments accordingly. This being in a top tier category, this one being in a mid category. Or the last one, I thought we could go case by case, looking at each of the 5 students individualized and then going according based on what would be fair, what would be specific, and what would be best for all 5 of these students. My evaluation of my option, my pros for taking no actions, nothing on me. I don't have to do anything different than anything else has been going on. Everything just keeps going along as normal. My cons, our enrollment rate does not come up, which is what we want in the first place. My superintendent is upset at me. I probably lose my job. Strict by the board policy, no wiggle room. Pros, there's no one to come back and say that you didn't do it by the books. I was strict. I was by the books. I had no exceptions. It was very specific. Cons, you're going to make a lot of people upset. Ask the superintendent. Pros, it takes the monkey off your back and puts it on the superintendent. So if they get any kickback, you can just say, that's what the superintendent said. Cons, you're not a very strong leader. Now, input is good, but if you're just taking what the superintendent says. Poll the staff. Pros, that you are having input from your staff, which makes them feel valued. Cons, really can't be the way we look at things by polling our staff and seeing which way to go here. You need to be, as a leader, showing that you can make those decisions. Rank the cases and pass out punishment accordingly. Pros, could be nice to put them in tiers. The more severe punishments get a harsher punishment. The less severe punishments or cases get a less severe punishment. Cons, which ones make that? Now we have to rewrite policy and all that kind of stuff. And the last one, case by case. Taking a look at each individual cases. Pros, lots of pros. You're looking at the individual student. You're assessing each specific one and not grouping them into different categories. You're doing what's best for students. Cons, people could think it might be unfair if you treat one situation differently than another. My choice would be best option, case number 3, case by case situation. I take a look at each of the cases and I go with that. I take a look at Karen the junior and I have so many questions for her. How did this come about? And just talking with the parents and having that conversation with them. Tyrone, looking at this is a great opportunity for learning. I think this would be okay as long as we get prior approval and they have the opportunity to miss those days and enrich his culture. Christina, missing these days in a row, 4 days in a row for 3 weeks, probably not going to let that one go. Probably going to tell the minister that this is not going to work out this time. Maybe in the future, feel like we've missed too many days. Carl, trying to get with him, trying to get with his parents, trying to get support and an understanding and get him to buy into why school is a good thing. So that one we're going to have to be very sensitive about. And John, our quarterback, there's no excuse for it. We're going to get the athletic director. We're going to talk about it. We're going to say we can't just miss because we're a quarterback. He's not getting his education. We need to move that physical therapy to different times after practice, some other time. We can't be missing Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. It just is unacceptable. Imagine the implementation. When I think about this, I think about the kids specific. When I think about putting this in place, I think it would be good case by case situation, talking, finding out lots more information, going about this the right way. I think it would really go over well. The future of this, I think, is building that I'm a new principal coming in. I need to build that relationship with my staff, so do some staff building activities that get us together as a group, making sure that we're all on the same page, them trusting me, I am trusting them as they are the senior, as they have the tenure there. Kagan structures I put in there. Kagan structures are a good way to get people thinking outside the box and offering lots of different ideas. I personally believe that it all starts with relationships. As whether I'm a classroom teacher or I'm a principal, I'm trying to build up those relationships and nurture them, and then based off that, we're making decisions. And the last one there is professional development. We need everybody looking at the truancy policy from the state, from the board, and getting on the same page so we can move forward together. So that's my assessment. I hope you have a great day.